Okay, welcome everyone to another edition of GTE Professional Network Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Peterson. Today's date, ladies and gentlemen, is May the 1st. Hallelujah. We are now in the month of May. April has passed. And now, as we were talking about our Financial Literacy Month and education for our Literacy Month for our children, now this month, this month, May, let me say that again. This month, May, we have Lupus Awareness Month, as well as our graduation classes of 2025. So I have my special guest on, Dr. Calvina Williams of Lupus of Nevada out of North Las Vegas, to talk about her nonprofit organization and then also setting up your 501c3. And we're going to talk about lupus, what's going on here in Houston, Texas, as far as the Lupus Walk is concerned, and then the virtual Lupus Walk that Dr. Calvina Williams is doing for her organization, Lupus of Nevada. And before we get her on and start talking about it, I just wanted to share you guys a quick nitbit tip on how to build a solid online presence utilizing your website. And I've been getting a lot of inquiries about that. And a lot of people have been asking me, Ed, what do I need to do to get my site moving? You know, I got the site up. And I've been doing a lot of website reviews, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have a website that you need reviewed, you can send me the inquiry to my website. I'm at globaltouchenterprise.net. I'll be happy to review your site. It's a free service. And basically what I'm doing is going to look over to see what your site is structured like, your content, as well as are you telling a story? And all websites should be telling a story about your product or service and who you are in the marketplace so people can get the chance to learn you. So it's you incorporated. Always remember that, ladies and gentlemen. It's about you incorporated, you in business, it's you in control. And so we talk about building a solid online presence is very key when you're talking about with your website and provide a great user experience. We call it UX in the tech world, in our industry, but most of the times we have to make sure that we're doing everything possible to make sure that we give our users a quality experience of what they're looking for on our website. So when designing your website, you want to look at it from your standpoint of a user. Look at how you would be if you would be online looking up a particular product or service that you're looking for in the marketplace. And you'd see how the website is designed, how easy. Keeping it simple, ladies and gentlemen, is the key. You don't need to make it complex and all of that. Just keep it simple, your website, and then give it the navigation to the points that you want them to go to. Once they click on those points, ladies and gentlemen, now you've got the end users being interactive with what you have on your website. That's very important. If you're selling a product on your website as an e-commerce site, you definitely want them to go to the online store. What your promotions you're running, remember the 5 P's of marketing, understanding it about the people, the product, the price, the place, and the promotion. And once you get that information out to them and show the promotion that you're running online with your website, that'll give you more traffic, more visibility. And then on the search engines, Google, Yahoo, and Bing, you want to make sure that's done on that level too as well. And last but not least, your social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, if you're on TikTok, any of those, you want to promote that there as well. If you have a YouTube channel, you want to promote it. You want to put together a video too as well, so that way you can talk about the product and service and have your customers to give you feedback. So that way you can collect that data and make sure that that product that you sold to them is what they enjoyed. They got a good experience from you, and you gave great customer service in the process. And now you have a lasting person that's going to continue to share your information continually with the people that they know. And that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen, the PHP effect, people helping people. And we want to stay on that level, and we want to continue that on that regard. So that's just a quick nitpick tip on that, on building a solid online presence. I'm going to get more into it as we continue our growth series for the month of May. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're on the show every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I'll be sending out information to everybody so that way you guys can get a chance to check us out. Or you can go to my website at globaltouchenterprise.net. I'm also having my videos posted there too, as well as on social media and also this YouTube channel. So I'm super excited for the month of May, and that we have our lovely Dr. Calvini Williams on to talk
Oh,
about
thank you.
her
Compliments,
organization.
compliments.
But we're talking about Lupus of Nevada. Now, I've been knowing this lady here for over, oh, Lord, it's been a number of years now. I've been working with her. I built her website. And what we do here at Global Touch Enterprise, we're a web design and marketing company here in Houston, Texas. She lives all the way in Vegas, in North Las Vegas, Nevada. And I've built websites for a lot of my clients, churches, nonprofit organizations across the country, and local businesses across the country to help them build and grow their network in the area where they do business. And so, Dr. Williams, I wanted to just kind of give them insight to your organization, Lupus of Nevada, and how did you really get started with that and why?
Okay. The question, question is why.
Yes.
There was no lupus group here at all, none. And I contacted the foundation, and they gave me a pamphlet, and that was it. And the pamphlet was, and it's the truth. The pamphlet said, what they said to me, that they were focusing in on New York because that was the bigger area for them, and Las Vegas wasn't. Wrong comment for me. So
Right.
I decided to say, okay, we are important. We are dying. We need to start something here. And that's how it became. That's how it became what it is today. Determination, the will to succeed, wanting to help others, not to gain financial gain, because Lupus is a nonprofit and we don't carry money over. We don't have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. You know, we disperse that money as soon as we get it on technical support or giving educational awareness pamphlets out or whatever. That's what we do. And then Lupus Nevada does a lot of, I was asked to go to Carson City to talk about our medication. You know, is our medication going to go up? And if it is going to go up, how much will we have to pay? What's our difference? Right now, it's nothing. But the way it was going to be something. Right. We actually were able to work with our representative, Dina Titus, and we came with that SB 175, which was excellent. We're read on the site, because I got so much stuff running in my mind now, I don't want to mess up on it, but read what that SB 175 is. But I want to get started on how to start a nonprofit. And a lot of people say, this is an easy question, can you technically start a nonprofit by yourself?
Right. That is the question.
And, you know, it's often recommended to have a small board of directors and or support, while some states allow one-person board. The IRS scrutinizes such organizations more closely and may find it difficult to grant a 501c3. So everyone out there listening to me? Don't just, you go in there, yes, you can, but you're going to have problems because you have just one person on your board. And I'm going to go down the line because I looked it up. I'm going to go down the line and tell you step by step what needs to be done.
Right.
Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. And it's always good to look this up, to research this.
Yes.
Okay. In more detail, let me say what I wrote down. There's 9 steps to start a 501c3 organization. First, you got to get a clear purpose. What is your purpose? What is your purpose? Is your purpose going to help the community, or is it going to help you?
Right.
The purpose has to be about the community because it is a 501c3.
Right.
Secondly, you decide which type of nonprofit you want to establish. That's so important. What type of nonprofit do you want to establish? And then third, name your nonprofit. Name your nonprofit.
Right.
Then you form a board, write up your bylaws, prepare a file to file your incorporation paperwork, file for tax exempt status. Now I'm saying this, one person can't do this. This is where it comes up where you have to have board requirements. In California, a nonprofit can have a few as one director, but the IRS, like I said, is hesitant. You have to build your boards. You have to go and talk to some other people and get their ideas too, because it's so important to get their ideas. Who, what, when, how do I do this? You know, you got to begin by defining its purpose and mission and choose a name. That's so important. I scribbled on a piece of paper what I wanted. Choose your name and develop a business plan. You always have to do that.
Yeah.
And then incorporate your organization with the state. Get the state papers and actually look at the state papers, follow them to the T. That means you're looking at one sentence after another sentence, you know. Next, secure an employer EIN number and apply for the federal exempt status. I have my papers here, and I don't know if you can see them, but the EIN number is this. Yeah, it's here. You can't see it, but it's up at the top of your charitable. I have charitable solicitation registration that I just had to fill, and then my officers and directors. But you have to develop. You have to develop your EIN, file for tax exempt status, prepare your file, you know, and corporation. So you have to file that, and then they'll give you your employee identification.
Right.
You have to have that. The paperwork that I have to fill every year is charitable solicitation registration. That means if you raise any money, you have to file this out every year. You have to file, you got your taxes. Don't just do your taxes yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's very important that you say that too, Dr. Williams, because everybody needs to learn to know that they have to file properly as a 501c3 nonprofit.
Yeah. What we do, we have our financial information from IRS, and that's a 990N. And the 990N is so important for us because it tells you your tax revenue, 990. What did you make? Say we made $26,000. Okay.
Right.
What was your total revenue? $26,000. Don't get those two mixed up. Then on the other end, it says revenue less expense, total assets, total liabilities. We put 0,000 because we didn't have it. We didn't have any of that. We don't have an overhead of an office anymore.
Right.
We've never had employees. And I tell people that in a minute because you have to file this, file that. Now, if you're making big money and you want to file, you know, for employees, then go right ahead. But make sure you have your financial advisor over that. Make sure you have someone in as a tax preparer, as your tax attorney to do that. Now, we go through the foundation, not the Lupus Foundation. We go to the foundation, 501c3. It's a 501c3 foundation, and that's good. A lot of the entertainers go to it. A lot of Joe Osteen, you know, Jakes, all of them. You know, they go through that, and they also can develop everything you need. But we had to pay back then. We had to pay $3,300. We had a very good donor that donated all that money to us to file it. Now, some people say, "Oh, I can file it on my own." Yeah, you can file it on your own, but you know, you have to understand that you got to be detailed in what you do. You can't just go there and file a clown. This is a clown show. You know, if you want to learn how to start a nonprofit for free, and if you don't have the resources for starting a nonprofit organization, that's important because most people don't.
That's correct.
There's an avenue that you can pursue called fiscal sponsorship. You can use the 501c3 of another nonprofit to start your project or launch your idea. Now, there's a video for that online. Again, hear me straight. You can ride on the back of another 501c3, to help you get started and launch your ideas. Then when you get accomplished, you can break away from that. But I've noticed a lot of people have, latched on to other people with 501c3s. You have anything to say?
I've seen a few people like that too.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have to have clear communication, because a lot of people latch on to these 501c3s and they put their monies together, they put this together, and it's very difficult to separate. If you're going to do that, you have to have your separate financial, donations. You have to.
I think that's important. That's really important too, as well, because looking at how the structure of it and getting the structure down, setting up a 501c3 nonprofit, you can't commingle funds with your personal. You got to treat it like a business, even though it's a nonprofit. But also you want to have, again, the basic things that you just described is what people will need to know and do.
Absolutely.
And my suggestion is, whatever city and state you're in, ladies and gentlemen, just look at what's the requirements there for your city and state, and then that way you can go further from there. But I definitely want to recommend everybody who are looking to satisfy a particular cause in the community or the neighborhood where they are, start there and start small. And as Dr. Williams brought it up, you can partner with another nonprofit in existence temporarily until you get yours approved and set up. But for the most part, you want to separate everything as it should be. And co-oping is okay. It's called co-oping. And co-oping is a big thing. It's been around for a minute now. But you want to kind of make sure that as you co-op, that you are understanding that you're an entity as well as they are an entity. So whatever they're doing, they don't have to dictate to you that, vice versa. But it's a sharing of resources in the community, so that way nobody lacks anything in the community. That's the purpose of these nonprofit organizations across the country, is to satisfy a need. Whatever the causes are, we call it cause marketing. You want to put together a great marketing campaign or plan that you have along with your business plan, so that way you can continue to share that. And then also on the media side, you can get free advertising too as a 501c3. A lot of people are not understanding that, but that's true. You can, as a 501c3, submit your organization to the local TV, radio, and newspapers and magazines, and then they can write an article and talk to you about your organization and what you're doing currently in the community to give you the exposure that you need to grow. And that's what it's all about, because the more people you're satisfying based on the population of that area, that community that you're serving, the better you will. And Dr. Williams, that's a great way to start it out and really get people to understand.
Because there are 12 things in dealing with this. How long does it take to start a nonprofit? Okay. Can you make money from a nonprofit organization? How to start a nonprofit in 12 steps. Research, create a business plan, recruit your board, identify and brand, funding and revenue. The 7th step is file for the tax exemption. The 9th step is you can hire staff members. You can't hire them, or what we did, we had volunteers. That was
that's the best way to start out.
And then we had step 10, choose the right software tools. That's exactly where Ed comes in. That's his expertise.
Right. Yeah. And having that is really vitally important, ladies and gentlemen. For those who want to set up their own 501c3 nonprofit organization, is you got to be equipped to handle a database of capturing all the people that you're not only serving in the community where you are, but also your supporters, your donors, and as well as any sponsors that you bring up on, then what events that you're having there in that community. So you're going to need to hold down all that data, because they're going to ask questions. All this money that you're getting, where is it going, and you have to make sure you channel it properly in order to stay on board.
People are going to ask that, out in the community. You might be on a panel and they say, okay, where is Lupus Nevada's money going to?
Correct.
And you have to answer that. You have to answer it. You can't put color code cream on it, ice cream cake, cream, whatever you want to call it. You can't do that. You've got to let them know. When I go to meetings or I go to make a presentation, I'm thoroughly organized. My finances is here. My nonprofit is here.
Right.
How I got started is here. The do's and the don'ts, the naysayers, because you're going to find naysayers, and you got to look over them because they'll stop you dead in your step. But please, this is one thing that I learned: do not tell people your business about your agency because they will steal it. I'm gonna tell you right out, they will steal ideas. I had people coming into my office over there. We were donated a $50,000 office by Sunrise years ago, about 10 years. And I had people coming from the other side stealing. I was wanting to know why, Ed, remember, why are they giving a walk? And then when we gave our walk, they gave their walk the day before ours. We were doing something else, they gave theirs the day before ours. So we had a thief in the midst. I caught one of them. I told them, don't ever put your hands in that file cabinet again if you want.
Right.
If you don't want to draw back a nub, don't do that. This is for the people. This is for the people. This is not for you. If you feel you have to steal from somebody, then you're not worthy to even start a nonprofit.
Exactly.
And that's how I told them, And then you also have to plan and prepare for growth. Because Lupus in Nevada has grown. I always wanted a podcast. Now we've grown. This gives us an opportunity for people all over the world to connect with us. And I think that is so important. Rather than, gone are the days of just handing out flyers. Because they throw them on the ground.
Right.
What's going on is our kids look at their Facebook, their Instagram, their
TikTok,
Snapchat, everything. They look at all of that, and if it catches their eye, and you have to have something to catch their eye. You have to have something to catch your eye. And usually, like Ed tells me, you got to be on like he is continuously. Let them see your face.
Yeah, you got to, because at the end of the day, Dr. Williams, when I talk to my clients and I'm working with churches and nonprofit organizations, and since this is Lupus Awareness Month, everybody's been asking, well, what are we doing? Who are we supporting? Well, what does the website look like? Is it anywhere for them to go online and donate? And then two, are you giving them feedback and information about the organization on a regular basis? So having a website is key. And and having the database where they can fill out a form and ask more inquiries and all of that, and you get back with them within the 8 to 12 hour period. It used to be 12 to 24 hours, but now it's shorter than that. But you can automate everything, and you can email you can do email marketing and e-blast them information about the organization to people, like you said, across the country, because now you're no longer just local, but you're nationwide and you're also global. So people can anywhere who know somebody in the United States, across this country, who are suffering from the autoimmune disease and things that they may need that they don't have because they don't have the resources. And this is the purpose, ladies and gentlemen, of us putting together this. And I set up her podcast, Lupus Talks, where she talks about tips and information that's going to benefit people who are suffering from lupus. And it's on every Tuesday. Believe it or not, it's going to be every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is my time. And so we basically have guests on that show on Lupus Talks. There's a way to get information about that, her and her co-host, Dolores Olson. So we put that podcast together so that way she can talk about what's really relevant now and what's going on with lupus, and then what the government is trying to pull funding from all of these organizations and what we can do to help pitch in and help the local people in the communities that we serve. And as serving leaders, this is what our purpose is, this is our role, this is our goal, and we want to continue to move forward with that effort without really relying much on the government for everything. And so we want to kind of let it be it's on upon us to do what's necessary and what's right. And you're going to be careful though. And this is why I support, ladies and gentlemen, with my company, Global Touch Enterprise, to support all local nonprofit organizations across this country. Because of the fact they're the ones boots on the ground, really serving the public, the general public, on a regular basis.
In the trenches.
Yes, in the trenches. And that's why you want to support every organization that you know is locally that can really benefit the people, the children, the elderly, all groups of people from all walks of life. Nobody should be left out, but it should serve everyone. Because again, we're all in this together. And we have to stick together in order for us to grow and to continue to showcase what's relevant and what's necessary for us to live and have a good lifestyle. So with that, we're really super excited for you sharing that.
Thank you. And I also want to say, Ed, if I may, excuse me, I also want to say that half of nonprofits are set up to fail.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged. Just keep doing what you need to do, because strategic plans are often the foundation of how a nonprofit performs. Always go back to that strategic plan and make sure that you're looking at, I do mine. I look at mine constantly. Okay, well, I got this. I'm doing this. I have my to-do list. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. You just have to do that. Because if you don't, your mind gets worn down. And then you've got people out there, please be careful of letting people into your financial files, because a lot of people do wrong. And those files need to be
safeguarded.
Right.
They have to be safeguarded. I share this with all of my organizations that I build websites for, and they always ask me the question, who's your treasurer? And if that's the treasure that you have, who are they trustworthy? And making sure that they're keeping the records correctly on what's coming into the organization and then what's also going out. Because the treasurer holds the purse, so that way they can keep up with the funds and funding, and then has to be recorded and reported. So that way you don't get in trouble, and you're not scamming people, and you're not fraudulently falsifying things or lying to people about what the purpose of the cause that you represent and trying to put out there in the community. But again,
I always look over things. Always. One thing I like with a certain celebrity said, won't mention name, but she said, I sign all my checks.
There you go.
And that's how I look at it, and this is like a family legacy here.
Yeah,
so we have family. If this is another thing I do, we have family running it. So we know, my treasurer is in California. She ain't in my house. That's how it has to be, So they're scattered all over. But the thing, and then we have our calls, we call each other and this is what we're doing. What do you think about it? You have any ideas about it? Send me your thoughts or whatever. And that's how it's been going on, but if you want your agency, if you want your nonprofit to be your legacy, when you pass on, you don't want it to die. You don't want somebody to take your baby and kill it. Family is the way.
Yeah. Well, again, finding the right people in your organization. And I love the John Maxwell books because I'm a big John Maxwell fan. Developing the leader within you. And then he has another book, Developing the Leaders Around You. You want to develop leaders. You want to have leaders in your camp, in your group of your nonprofit organization that you're setting up. Now, if you have a for-profit business, the answer I always get is, Ed, can a for-profit business have a nonprofit organization? The answer to that is yes, you can. It has to be separate, though, and it has to have a separate entity. But it's co-ops to your main business, but it's not in lieu of what you're trying to do for profit. Because, again, you're a 501c3 nonprofit, so you're going to put in events, you're going to see what you're serving in the community and where those funds are going. And then people know in the community that these funds are for this particular purpose. And I have a lot of organizations, there are a lot of organizations that need some support and assistance. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, we're not giving like we used to anymore. So donations is totally different from what it used to be.
You got to be creative.
So we have to be creative in our approach. And this is where the cause marketing technique comes into play for churches and nonprofit organizations specifically. It's called cause marketing. And so if you look at what we're doing today and how we're growing our businesses and networks and how we're serving in the communities and giving back to the disadvantaged, to the unfranchised people, then we must understand how to do this on what's more relevant for today. The times have changed, the money has shifted, and the way things are now, everything is done online. And so if you're not, as Bill Gates said way back in the day when he started, that if your business is not online, you'll soon be out of business. And today we have to understand the new techniques that we must learn so we can be effective in our approach in reaching people. But remember this well, you can only help people who give you the permission to help them. If they don't give you the permission to help them, there's nothing you can do. Plain and simple.
That's true.
Jesus couldn't teach in his own area because of non-beliefs, disbelief. They didn't want it, they don't believe it.
They didn't want to hear it.
They want to hear it. So in essence of what we do is making sure that we stay focused on our approach and our roles, following one course until successful. That's the acronym for focus. Following one course until successful. So with the things that we must understand with our young people, now we have to really update our education ourselves, not again, since they're dismantling that with the government, a lot of things that's being dismantled, we have to put back together. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. It took all the king's men to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. So that's what we have to do. So we want to be like Humpty Dumpty.
One another.
Right. And so
one another. Don't forget to tell them about that virtual walk that we
yes. So with Lupus in Nevada, if you go to the website, lupusinnevada.org, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be having the Lupus Walk here in Houston, Texas. Lupus.org, the main organization, they're doing the Lupus Walk on June 12th here for our city, for people who are suffering from lupus at TSU, Texas Southern University, which is our HBCU college. And so we are basically looking at everyone who is suffering from the autoimmune disease to support them. Dr. Williams said a little bit about it, but the medications are very expensive today.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them cannot afford the medications that they need to have. Well, this is where we come into play and giving awareness, going to the show on her podcast, Lupus Talks, every Tuesday at 2 p.m.
where you can get it.
Pacific Standard Time, and then 4 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So with all of that we're doing, we're talking about something that's going to be relevant and pertinent for all of us to learn together. And together we build the house. And together we help each other grow so no one lacks anything in the communities where they are. And this is a big nationwide effort that we're putting together. So if you guys have any inquiries, any questions, you can go to lupusofnevada.org's website and you can check and you can submit that there. Dr. Williams will be happy to get back with you on reference to that. And again, this is for everyone that you know. And for those who are not suffering from lupus, but you know people who are, now you can give them the resource. Look, that's tuning in for this channel here that we're talking about for Lupus Awareness Month for the month of May. And so everybody's looking to support, to help, and to give reasons why we're doing what we're doing, so that way everybody can be transparent enough to tell you exactly where the money's going, what they're doing with the money, and all of this. But not only that, the people that they're supporting in the interim and how many people are being supported under this umbrella. Go ahead, Dr.
I'd like to add, too, that there are people that in convalescent homes, in hospitals, in their rooms, isolated, in their homes, isolated. And I thought this would be a good way to have that virtual walk so they can be a part of it. Because it does make you feel as though you're walking in the woods, smelling the flowers, or walking in Rome, or walking in Paris, or, walking in Africa. I mean, it gives you that opportunity. I don't know where we're going to go with this, but
Well, we're going to select a place for the walk, virtually speaking, and everybody can tune in, and we'll give you the link to do the virtual walk, and that way you can basically participate. And we're going to set the time and date. If this probably by the end of this month. Or the middle of this month. We're still working the work out on that, but we want to make sure that we do everything possible to share this with everybody, so everybody nationwide can participate and only that participate, because lupus is no respecter of persons. It's hitting everybody, children,
5 million people,
men and women. Yes, ma'am. And also to mention, when you go to lupusofnevada.org's website, Dr. Calvino, she's also an author of a book, Loving God While Living with Lupus. And then she also has a children's book, Chris and Christina Have Lupus. So you want to basically check those out and get a chance to support this organization in reference to her book as being an author of 2 books actually, and she's going to be writing another book coming up. So as we continue to go on, she's just sharing her testimony. And Lupus in Nevada, Dr. Williams, has been around how long now?
20 years.
20 years, wow. So out of North Las Vegas, and here she is, 20 years now, have been in the fight as a lupus patient herself, and now she's able to share exactly the actual what happened with her as what she's sharing from her heart to let people know what you can do, and then getting the doctors involved, and then passing a bill out there in Nevada to the
SB 175.
SB 175, right. So that means she's actually been a legislator of that sort and making sure that people get properly diagnosed, because there's a lot of misdiagnosis in our country, ladies and gentlemen.
Patient advocate, yeah, that's
right. And so and so that's one of the things why it's very important that we stay true to self and stay true to what's real and what's going to benefit others in the process. So with that, Dr. Will, I'm really thankful for you to come on my show today, and thank you for sharing. And we're going to have more about that for Lupus Walk, Lupus information. Again, you can check her out on her Lupus Talk podcast, which is going to be on this Tuesday coming up at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then 4 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. And again, you can always go on to our website to ask about any inquiries on lupusofnevada.org. You can go there, and she'll be happy to reply to any inquiries or questions you may have in reference to those people who are suffering lupus, and then also lupus patients themselves. And like she said, she started this organization because there was nobody in her community doing that. There are other people across this country and other cities and states that's also going through the same thing. They don't have the support group. Well, you can participate here with lupusofnevada.org. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for taking the time to tune into this edition of GTE Professional Network Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Ed Peterson, and I'm really excited. And we're going to continue our growth series for the month of May as we look at our graduates and all the things that's happened. I'm going to have Dr. Little back on with Graduates Gift to talk more about what she's got going on. And along with more authors, and we have young entrepreneurs too, to talk about their businesses as they are talking excited about starting their own companies and businesses at a young age. Now, what about that? So people are not trying to work for anybody anymore these days because they see what's happening on the landscape of things. So now it's time for us to step up and step out and reach and teach everybody on how to build and grow their network in the area where they do business.
Right.
And again, if you need a website, we're here to help you with that. Again, I do website reviews. You can go to my website at globaltouchenterprise.net, and you can let me know exactly what you thought, what's going on with your site, what's going on with your company, and then check us out. We don't always have a podcast here on this YouTube channel because I'm kind of loving it now and see what's going on out here. So now I can put the face to the company and all of that. Now you see the faces to these companies that I'm going to be interviewing throughout this year, 2025. And we're not stopping, we're not quitting, and we're not going anywhere.
Right.
So with that, right. I want to thank you all for that. And you guys keep building the faith and keep building your dreams. And I'll talk to you again. You have a great afternoon now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Williams.
Thank you.